I want you to picture something for a second. Think back to the last major exam you took.
Oh, yeah.
You're probably imagining sitting in this massive, overly air-conditioned hall, or maybe a cramped classroom with those tiny attached desks.
Right, with the clock just ticking loudly on the wall.
Exactly. And there's that one person aggressively coughing in the third row. And you can hear the squeak of the proctor's shoes as they walk up and down the aisles, just watching everyone's eyes.
It's stressful just thinking about it.
It is. But that's how we've thought about exams for decades, right? Delivery and observation. You hand out the paper and you watch the room.
And even when tests moved online recently, the basic concept didn't change much. We basically just swapped the squeaky shoes for a webcam and a microphone.
Right, but what if that entire paradigm is shifting right now? What if an artificial intelligence didn't just sit there and watch you take the test, but actually built the exam from scratch based on your specific syllabus?
And monitored your digital environment to actively fight off other AI tools.
Yeah, and then read and graded your subjective essay answers.
It's a complete reimagining of the testing environment. We're moving from a passive delivery system to an active, comprehensive digital ecosystem.
And that is exactly what we're tackling today. Welcome to the deep dive. We're looking at a stag of really revealing excerpts from a document titled Proctorly Assess: The Evolution of AI Exam Governance.
Governance, that's the key word.
It is. That word governance is the absolute hinge this whole conversation swings on. We're going to explore how the platform, Proctorly Assess Plus, makes the argument that exams shouldn't just be delivered to a student. They need to be entirely governed from start to finish by AI.
We're talking about the entire life cycle of a test being structured, traceable, and completely managed by an artificial intelligence.
Which is wild.
What's fascinating here is that we often think of academic integrity as something that only matters the moment a student sits down at a computer and clicks begin.
Right, like catching someone looking at their phone.
Exactly. But according to our source material, true academic integrity doesn't start at the test-taking phase at all. It starts way earlier. It starts at the curriculum level.
Wow.
Because if the foundation of the test isn't perfectly aligned with the course material, the integrity of the evaluation is already compromised before the first question is even answered.
I had to read that part twice. The idea that cheating or, unfairness is prevented not just by watching the student, but by locking down the curriculum first, it's a total flip of how we usually think about test security.
It really is.
So, for you listening, we're going to take you on a journey through the three major phases of this AI examination ecosystem. We'll look at the creation phase, where the AI actually builds the test blueprint.
Then the delivery phase.
Right, the intense security fortress built around the student taking the test. And finally, the evaluation phase, where the AI grades everything and reports back to the institution.
It's a massive shift from traditional education models. The traditional way of making a test usually involves a professor or a panel of educators sitting down, looking at what was taught, and manually drafting questions.
Which takes forever.
Incredibly time-consuming. And honestly, it's inherently prone to human bias or accidental drift from the actual syllabus.
Okay, let's unpack this. If we look at the very beginning of the process, how a test is actually born, the source talks about curriculum-bound question generation. Because we've all been there, right?
Oh, definitely.
You study Chapter 4 all night, and the test is entirely about some obscure footnote in Chapter 2 that the professor happened to find interesting that morning.
Exactly. That's the drift the system is trying to eliminate. Proctorly Assess Plus approaches this entirely differently. An institution literally uploads their syllabus or their specific module content directly into the system.
And from there, the AI takes over.
Right. It ingests the material and generates a highly structured question bank that is strictly bound within that approved curriculum.
But how does the AI actually prove it's sticking to the script? Because AI hallucinations are a real thing.
They are.
It could easily invent a question that sounds right but wasn't in the reading.
Well, the source details are super specific about this. It doesn't just write a question. It attaches heavy metadata to it.
Okay.
It gives it a difficulty tag, and it maps it directly back to specific modules and topics. And here's the crucial part. There is strict curriculum-to-question traceability.
Traceability. So that's the defense against hallucination.
Right. The system can mathematically prove exactly why a question is being asked based on the uploaded material. It can say, this question tests concept X, which is located in module Y, paragraph Z.
That's incredibly precise.
It is. And of course, the humans aren't entirely cut out of this phase. The system features faculty approval workflows where educators review the AI's output, but the document makes a massive promise to institutions.
Which is?
No deviations, no irrelevant questions,
Yeah.
just academically aligned assessments.
Which leads us to a phrase in the text that caught my eye: governed question paper generation. If I'm understanding this correctly, the reason this level of precision matters is because of what happens on test day.
Exactly.
The AI uses this giant bank of tagged questions to give every single candidate a completely unique paper. But here's where I need you to clarify something.
Sure.
If you and I take different tests, someone is going to complain that their test was harder. How can an AI mathematically prove two different tests are the exact same difficulty? Isn't difficulty kind of subjective?
That's a great question, and it's the core problem with standard randomization. Randomization without governance just creates luck.
Right.
One student gets 5 easy questions, another gets 5 hard ones. But the AI in Assess Plus balances the difficulty distribution across every single unique test.
Okay.
It ensures an exact, predetermined mix of easy, medium, and difficult questions for every student.
So if my test is 20% hard questions, your test is exactly 20% hard questions, even if the questions themselves are totally different.
Precisely. It controls the randomization so that the uniform syllabus coverage remains identical. If your test has 3 questions on the French Revolution, my test will also have 3 questions on the French Revolution at the exact same difficulty level.
Wow.
Institutional exam policies are enforced automatically. By mathematically ensuring this balance of cognitive load, the AI guarantees what the text calls fairness at scale.
Fairness at scale. It means a university could test 10,000 students at the exact same time, give them all completely different tests so they can't share answers, and prove with data that no student had an unfair advantage.
Exactly.
That's the creation side. The test exists, and it's ironclad. But having a perfect test doesn't matter much if the student can just open a new tab and Google the answers.
No, it doesn't.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Once the test is built, how do you protect it?
Delivering the test securely is historically the most challenging part of remote or digital assessments. The source explicitly states that Assess Plus operates inside Proctorly's multi-layered security environment.
And multi-layered almost feels like an understatement. Imagine you're taking this test. The system is utilizing continuous facial verification.
Right.
It's not just taking a photo of your ID at the beginning to see if you're the registered student. It's mapping your face and verifying that you are you the entire duration of the exam.
It also features multi-face detection. So if your helpful roommate leans over your shoulder to look at your screen, the AI flags it instantly.
And absence detection, too. If you duck under your desks to look at a notebook or leave the camera frame, it knows.
And it's not just relying on visual data. The system is monitoring the physical environment through audio anomaly alerts.
Like what?
A sudden change in background noise, someone whispering off camera, or a secondary device playing audio will trigger the system.
That is intense.
From a network access standpoint, it features concurrent login prevention, ensuring the test is only being accessed from one secure point at a time. Every single one of these actions, these monitoring points, produces what the source calls structured audit-ready logs.
Which means if a student says, I wasn't doing anything wrong, the system glitched, the institution has a minute-by-minute, second-by-second data trail of their face, their room, their audio, and their screen.
They have the proof.
But we're not just talking about catching someone looking at a physical textbook anymore. We really need to talk about the AI arms race.
Yes, the modern threat landscape for exams has evolved rapidly. The source text is very clear that modern exams face a new, highly sophisticated threat: AI-assisted cheating.
Right.
We're no longer just worried about a student writing answers on their water bottle. We're worried about a student using a secondary artificial intelligence running in the background to bypass the exam completely.
And this is where the source gets incredibly specific, and we should name these tools directly because the text does. Proctorly Assess Plus features advanced AI cheat protection that actively seeks out and blocks rival AI answer assistants.
It specifically names tools like Monica, Cider, Merlin, and TestWiz.
But help me out here. How does one AI actually block another AI inside my web browser? What does that tug of war look like?
Think of these AI cheating tools as highly advanced screen readers. Extensions like Monica or Cider try to read the text on the web page, process the question through their own language models, and then display the answer to the student.
Huh?
Assess Plus acts as a technological defense perimeter. It uses code to block those specific browser extension pathways, or, in some cases, Security systems will scramble the text data in the background.
Scramble the data.
Yeah. So while your human eyes see a normal question on the screen, the rival AI's code just sees a jumbled mess of random characters and can't process it. It's essentially an AI guard dog specifically trained to hunt and blind other AIs.
That is wild, a guard dog blinding other AIs. But the deep technical defense goes even further than just fighting off browser extensions. The text mentions it detects browser injection attempts and clickjacking overlays. For the learner who might not be a cybersecurity expert, what exactly are those?
They're more advanced manipulation methods. A browser injection is when a student or a malicious script tries to inject custom code into the web page's background.
To do what?
They might try to inject a script that tells the exam timer to freeze, or one that automatically highlights the correct multiple choice bubble. Assess Plus continuously monitors the page's code to ensure nothing unauthorized is being added.
And clickjacking.
Clickjacking is like putting an invisible piece of glass over a painting. You think you're touching the painting, but you're actually touching the glass.
Oh, I see.
Malicious software can put an invisible, transparent layer over the exam's Submit or Next button. So when you click, you think you're advancing the test, but you're actually triggering a hidden script, maybe opening a hidden search window. The system actively scans for these invisible overlays.
It even detects remote or virtual machine usage.
Exactly.
Which prevents a scenario where a student just lets an expert remotely take control of their computer from another country. When you synthesize all of this, the platform's argument is that integrity is preserved even against the most highly advanced technical manipulation methods.
It's a full-blown digital security fortress.
You have an AI that built the test, an AI that's watching your face, an AI that's listening to your room, and an AI fighting off unauthorized AIs trying to break into your browser code.
It is comprehensive.
Mm-hmm.
But securing the test is only the second phase. The final piece of the puzzle is what happens after the exam is completed.
Right. So what does this all mean when you finally click Submit? The test is over. You breathe a massive sigh of relief. In the old days, you'd wait 3 weeks for a professor to grade a huge stack of blue book essays.
And as we know, human grading is highly subjective. A human grading the first paper on a Monday morning with a fresh cup of coffee might grade very differently than they do on the 100th paper on a Friday night when they're exhausted.
Definitely. Fatigue and bias naturally creep in. But the third phase detailed in the source is AI-driven evaluation across all formats.
That all formats part is key.
It really is, and I want to emphasize that.
Yeah.
Because grading multiple-choice questions with automated scoring isn't new. Scantron machines have done that for decades. But Assess Plus doesn't just grade multiple choice, it evaluates subjective responses. It literally reads and grades the written essays.
This is arguably the most complex technological leap mentioned in the text. Descriptive answer evaluation is handled using what the source calls rubric-aligned LLMs.
Large language models that are strictly tethered to a specific grading rubric.
Exactly.
Wait, explain that tethering to me. Because asking an AI if an essay is just good sounds like a recipe for disaster. What does rubric-aligned actually look like in practice?
It means the AI isn't making subjective judgment calls based on its own training data. The institution uploads an exact grading logic.
Give me an example.
For example, award 2 points if the student mentions the core economic theory, award 2 points if they provide a specific historical example, and deduct 1 point for poor grammar. The AI reads 10,000 essays and applies that exact rigid logic to every single sentence without ever getting tired.
The source also mentions the system utilizes hybrid paper evaluation logic and case-based response analysis. What do those terms mean for a student taking the test?
Well, case-based response analysis means the AI isn't just looking for the final right answer, it's evaluating the process.
The process.
Yeah. Imagine a nursing student gets a patient profile. The AI analyzes their written steps. Did they order the right blood tests first? Did they note the patient's allergies? It evaluates the sequence of their reasoning.
And the hybrid logic.
Think of hybrid paper evaluation logic, like a master conductor. You might have an exam with 30 multiple-choice questions, 5 short answers, and 1 long essay. Hybrid logic seamlessly weighs all those different formats together to give one cohesive evaluation of the student's overall comprehension, rather than just grading them in isolated silos.
So it looks at the whole picture.
Exactly. The stated benefit for institutions is achieving absolute consistent grading across thousands of candidates. The 100th paper is graded with the exact same rigor and criteria as the first.
Which brings us to the ultimate view of all this data. The text calls it institutional governance and visibility, because all of this AI activity the creation, the delivery, the evaluation, has to be manageable by actual human administrators at the university or certification board.
The administrators are given full control through these central integrity dashboards. And one of the most interesting features listed here is candidate risk scoring.
I found that fascinating. It's not just a grade, right? It's a behavioral score.
Exactly. The system synthesizes all the data from the multi-layered security environment. The facial tracking, the audio logs, the browser injection attempts, the time it took to answer questions. And it assigns a quantitative risk score regarding the integrity of that specific candidate's exam.
So you get your academic grade, but the administrator gets a risk score that basically says, we're 98% confident this grade is legitimate, or we have a high risk score here because they had 3 audio anomalies and tried to click off screen twice.
Right. The administrators also get evaluation analytics, incident timelines showing exactly when a security flag occurred,
Yeah.
and entirely exportable audit documentation.
Wow.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the core thesis of the platform. From the syllabus curriculum, to a generated question, to the candidate's environment, to the final result, every single step remains fully traceable and defensible. The source concludes by stating that modern institutions need more than just online exams. They need trusted digital assessment governance.
It really is a massive operational shift. To summarize the sheer scale of the ecosystem we've just unpacked for you listening, an institution takes a standard syllabus and uploads it. An AI ingests it and generates a balanced curriculum-bound test with perfectly mapped difficulty level so everyone gets a fair but unique test.
And then the delivery.
Right. When it's time to take the test, the student enters a lockdown digital fortress where another layer of AI watches their face, listens to their room, and actively fights a shadow war against rival AI cheating tools like Monica or TestWiz trying to inject code into the browser.
And finally, the evaluation.
Exactly. When the student types out their essay, a rubric-aligned AI reads it, grades it consistently alongside thousands of others, and outputs a neatly packaged, audit-ready result with behavioral risk score. I really want you to imagine taking a test in this environment. It's so profoundly different from the traditional pen and paper era, or even the early days of just clicking multiple choice boxes on a clunky web portal.
It's a completely airtight loop.
Or imagine being an administrator relying on those integrity dashboards and risk scores to defend the actual value of the degrees you're handing out.
It's a remarkable technological achievement outlined in the text, and it solves a lot of logistical problems.
Yeah.
But as we look at this closed loop, this raises an important question.
Okay, what is it?
If we are moving toward a world where one AI generates the questions based on a curriculum and another AI evaluates the students' subjective written answers based on an optimized grading rubric,
Yeah.
how long until students simply use their own AI study tools to learn the exact optimal phrasing the grading AI wants to see? Does this perfectly governed ecosystem eventually become just an endless loop of AI talking to AI? And if the student is just learning how to appease an algorithm, where does actual human critical thinking fit into the loop?
AI writing test questions for an AI to grade, while students use AI to figure out what the grading AI wants to hear. That is a heavy thought to chew on, and it changes the entire psychology of how we learn.
It really does.
And that's exactly why we do these deep dives. Thank you so much for joining us and exploring the wild frontier of AI exam governance today. Keep asking those big questions, keep looking closely at the systems being built around you, and as always, stay curious.